Scholastic Audio presents Island, Book 1, Shipwreck, by Gordon Korman. Read by Holter Graham. Prologue. Saturday, July 15, 2010 hours. For a heart-stopping moment, the bow of the Phoenix pointed straight up at the boiling black clouds of the storm. Then the wave broke in a cascade of spray, and the schooner was headed down, plummeting into the trough. Shakily, she righted herself and began the long climb up the next 30-footer. A streak of forked lightning silhouetted her against white water. She was two-masted, small for a schooner. Her deck wasn't much longer than the tallest of the waves. Her sails were down and secured, and she moved under engine power, steered gamely into the oncoming seas. Suddenly, a flash of white. The mainsail began to rise. It was unthinkable. No vessel could survive such a storm carrying sail. Pandemonium, angry shouts from the deck, a desperate run for the halyard. And then the brutal power of the storm filled the half-open sail with violent wind. The ship spun around and heeled over, its twin masts dipping dangerously close to the punishing swells. The next wave took the Phoenix broadside. A torrent washed over the deck. There might have been a scream when the body hit the water, but the howling of the gale was all that could be heard. Luke cast his eyes around. A tousled head of sandy hair poked out from one of the upper bunks. "What time is it?" Sleepy eyes peered down over rounded, heavily freckled cheeks. 21:45, Luke replied. "I think that's 21:45. The boy groaned and yawned at the same time. "My system is totally messed up. I was on planes for 21 hours to get here." "Tell me about it," said Luke, beginning to fill a narrow drawer with the contents of his duffel bag. "Why Guam?" "It's supposed to be just us and the ocean," replied the other boy. "No ports, no nothing. The brochure said we probably won't even see another boat for the whole month." He sounded mournful, like it was a death sentence. Luke applied a hip check to the overstuffed drawer. "Nobody showed me any brochure." "Really?" The boy was surprised. "How'd you end up here?" The horrible movie replayed itself in Luke's head, as it had so many times before. The crack of the judge's gavel, that single word, guilty. His mother's tears. And later, in the judge's chambers, "I'm reluctant to sentence a 13-year-old to Williston, especially on a first offense. There's one other possibility. It's a program called CNC, Charting a New Course." Luke cast his roommate a strange smile. "I'm a convicted felon." He held out his hand. "Luke Haggerty." "Wow!" The boy's eyes widened. "I'm only here because I fight with my sister. I'm Will," he added, shaking hands. "Will Greenfield." "Fight with your sister?" Luke raised an eyebrow. "So your parents had to put an ocean between you?" "Nah, she's in the girls' cabin next door. I guarantee you'll hate her. I should have been an only child." Luke laughed shortly. "I am an only child. It doesn't help. If you don't have any brothers and sisters, your parents are on your case extra." The lights flashed once and winked out. Except for the dim glow from the porthole, the cabin was in total darkness. "Well, I guess I've decided to go to sleep," Luke said sarcastically. He established himself on the lower bed, berth, on the opposite side of the room. Uncomfortably, he curled up in the coolest spot he could find. For a few minutes, the only sound that could be heard was the creaking of the mooring lines and the soft lapping of water against the hull. Then, "What felony?" Will asked. Luke laughed without humor. "Not murder, if that's what you're worried about." But even as he said it, the voice of the prosecutor was ringing in his ears. "Felony possession of a firearm." "Come on," coaxed Will. "I told you why I'm here. What was it, breaking and entering, vandalism? I know, assault." "That'll be my next felony," yawned Luke, "if I ever get my hands on the kid who put that gun in my locker."